Right, welcome back. Cyclists are set to endure a gruelling distance spanning some 850 kilometres, travelling from Johannesburg to Queenstown to raise funds for education for disadvantaged children. The ride has been undertaken every year by a group of passionate cyclists and some non-cyclists, I believe. In studio, we welcome the founder of the 1965 ride, Tony Frost, and former participant Lungisa Tsele to give us more insight into the ride. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Right, Tony, 9 days on a bike, 850 kilometres. It's a gruelling cycle. Why?
Well, you know, I must just respond to your first thing. You do have some bruises where most people don't ever get bruises by the time you get to the end.
I'm sure.
But the more important reason is, you know, there's such a wealth of talent in this country. And in a place like Queenstown, which has endemic unemployment, there are so many talented but poor kids who just would not have a start at life if they didn't get a decent education. So we started to try and do something about giving at least some of the kids a decent education to start their lives with.
So how long has the race been going?
This is our 9th time down the road to Queenstown.
Yeah, all downhill, you trying to con me.
All downhill, except with a few bumps in between.
And how much have you managed to raise so far?
You know, the big quantum includes all the donations in kind, like vehicles and consumables and kit and so on. But about 5 million rand in cash, so well beyond 5 million rand in cash, and we've supported 70 bursaries in that time. You know, so that we're on the way. It's got momentum now. We'd like to do 700 bursaries. That would really be nice. So anybody out there who's got money,
it's welcome.
Exactly.
But Lungisa, you did it back in 2017.
Correct, yeah.
How do you prepare for this kind of race? I mean, you're no Tour de France cyclist.
Exactly. Yeah,
so how do you prepare and how do you manage your own, you know, physicality
fitness
during the 9 days?
Yeah. Look, it's really just getting on the bike regularly, and I think if you're able to get out on the weekend, you're able to do your 60, 70 Ks, and you're just consistently doing it weekend and weekend out, you'll be able to manage the whole 850 Ks, because we average about 100 kilometers a day. So if you just have a basic level of fitness and you're consistently on your bike every weekend, you'll gain enough fitness to do it.
How many hours on average is that a day?
I guess 3 hours max. Yeah, I mean, the 100 kilometers that we do ride, it's a full day affair, because we really maybe cycle 20 Ks and then take a 2-minute, 5-minute break, and then we do another 20 Ks. So it's not too daunting, and it's quite an experience, because we do live in a beautiful country. So, you know, it's also an opportunity to really see the countryside. So for any rider that does participate, the Free State is a beautiful part to travel through. So as much as it's hard and you're on the bike for long, but you really sightseeing as well. It's amazing, yeah.
And I'm sure there's a lot of camaraderie as well amongst the cyclists doing it.
Absolutely.
So you're not doing it this year, but Tony, you are once again embarking on this cycle, and it's starting in 3 days' time.
Starting on Wednesday morning, 7:30 from Heidelberg.
And how many cyclists participating this year?
We've got 18 cyclists this year, so it's a nice group.
There looked like there were quite a lot of ladies cycling this year as well.
We have a record number of ladies, 9 ladies, so it'll be very quiet.
Yeah, there'll be no talking whatsoever. So rude, so stereotype. Okay, Tony, you were a bit of an athlete in your day, and you have some kind of relationship with Bruce Fordyce.
Yes, I did. I actually only started running because started cycling because I wasn't able to run anymore. The orthopedic surgeon took most of what remained of my knee out. So, and we settled on cycling as a sensible way to keep going, keep exercising. And you know, I haven't had any knee problems since then. Yes, I did run. My forte was cross country and middle distances. So I did cross country, ran in the South African colours for cross country. And I was lucky enough to captain the South African University's track side, so I was very privileged in having some wonderful experience on the athletic field.
But the knees just weren't having any more of it.
No, the knees decided that it was over. So you asked about Bruce Fordyce. I was equally privileged to have been the athletics coach at both UCT and WITS. And I was the coach at WITS, athletics coach at WITS at the time with Bruce Fordyce, Frith van der Merwe, Mark Handelsman, Sean Nicol, and those top quality athletes. It was such a privilege to work with them.
Lungisa, you were an under-19 and under-21 player for the Golden Lions.
Absolutely, yeah.
He's only 20 now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah.
So I mean, on a serious note, I mean, the rugby fraternity in the Eastern Cape has really plummeted. It's in a very sad state.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going on?
Look, it's really sad what's happened in terms of the area there, which is obviously border rugby is under a lot of pressure. I think financially they are under pressure, which is sad because with that sort of thing happening, a lot of talent obviously will get lost in the system by young men who would have come through the ranks, had an opportunity to play for border and subsequently obviously for the bigger unions. So it really is sad. It's a sad state of affairs that the border rugby union is finding themselves in. But I think just to bring it back to the ride, the whole purpose of the ride is obviously to give opportunity to kids who are underprivileged. Who I was born and bred in Whittlesea, which is just outside of Queenstown, and Tony went to school in Queen's College, which is in Queenstown. So both Tony and I have a heart to support kids in that area, and so really. The purpose of the ride is to make sure that the kids who perhaps be overlooked due to financial constraints obviously can be taken care of. So there's a lot of it. As much as there's a bad state of affairs, like initiatives like the ride also close those gaps. So yeah, for me, sport is ideal because kids get involved, kids stay out of trouble, and it gives kids opportunities. So one would hope the situation at border does change and sense prevails and support is given. Yeah. Because I feel it's an area, it's part of the country where there's so much rugby talent that we can't ignore it. We cannot ignore it.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll do it at our peril, quite frankly.
Absolutely.
Now,
Absolutely.
You did the ride back in 2017. You were, in fact, the rider of the 2017 ride. So when do we see you back on that bike?
Planning to be back in 2020. Okay. The last 2 years have been extremely difficult in a sense because of the nature of work I do. So, but I've always been a supporter of the ride before our road and during the ride. So the last 2 that I've missed, I've been supporting other athletes in terms of financial contributions as well to the ride. So I think the whole notion of the ride is not just myself doing it, but is being able to contribute to it, even if I'm not on the bike for that particular year. So we encourage people to get online, have a look at our Facebook page, have a look on YouTube, what we're about, get in touch with Tony, get in touch with me. It's for that people can contribute. It doesn't mean that the only way you can contribute is being on the bike. It really is about people being involved and contributing in whatever way they can.
All right, and Tony, ever so quickly, because time is up sadly, if someone did want to get involved, throw you mountains of money, how do they go about getting hold of you?
The easiest way is our website, www.1965ride.co.za. All the information is there. You just press sponsor a bursary and put in your millions.
Fantastic. I love the sound of that. All right, Lungisa, we'll see you in a year's time, Tony. All the best.
Thank you very much. There's still space on the road for you.
Yes, you've mentioned that. I'll get on my bike. All right, that was the founder of 1965 Ride, Tony Frost, and a cyclist from 2017, Lungisa Taylor, giving us more insight on the 1965 Ride.